couple of tough acts to follow there. My name's Harry Kurtz. I often like to refer to myself as one of the sixth brothers in the Kennedy family, and there were a few others to go along with it. I want to thank Paul for giving me the privilege of standing up here and speaking for a few moments, taking the risk of having me stand up here and speak for a few moments. Our family lived across the street from the Kennedys down in Grosse Pointe when they lived there, as Matt mentioned, from age 6 till 14. And it was a very special time. It's the type of thing you see on television. You know, it's hard to believe people enjoyed themselves that much, and we certainly did. It was just fascinating to look back and racing the go-karts up and down the sidewalks and playing the games and sicking the dog on kids riding the bikes down the street. I mean, it's really, it's hard to imagine allowing your kids to do what we did, but we did it. So, my mother was a young widow. There were 4 boys in our family, and her name was Margaret. And she and Margaret Kennedy had a very, very special relationship. She went back to work as a nurse, and Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy, without any special formal arrangement or anything, I think, really took us under their wing and kept an eye out for us when my mom would be at work, never expecting anything of it. I know my mother had a very deep affection and appreciation for Margaret and for Matt. She would always ask about her later on, and you know, and by the way, my brothers Ted and Stan in California and Grant in Florida send their love and condolences. And looking back, I made a note here. It seemed kind of uncanny. They would always seem to know what was going on between themselves, and at the time I didn't think much of it. Looking back, what they were doing is they would just talk about whatever needed to be talked about if it was necessary to keep an eye on us and keep us from, you know, getting out of line, I think. And that is just kind of fascinating when you think about it. They were almost like sisters, and they were keeping an eye on the brood. It wasn't uncommon for us to sleep over at each other's house. That was standard operating procedure. And I'm not even sure we asked permission, we just probably did it. And I preferred staying at the Kennedys because they had this abundance of good food. The electric trains, I mean, it was unbelievable. The electric train collection was mind-boggling. And they also, the tolerance, Matt was stealing all my lines. The tolerance factor, we could play cards all night long, and that was a way we occupied ourselves many, many a night. As I grew older, I was able to visit the Kennedys. I never got to Barcelona. That always bothered me. I wanted to go to Barcelona, but I did get to go to Connecticut. And we had a great time over there. And as I did get older, I started to realize or appreciate more. I mean, I always thought Mrs. Kennedy was very, very special, Mr. Kennedy. But you know, as you get older, you start to realize how sharp she was, and how insightful she was, and how gracious she was. And I'm glad I was able to experience that as opposed to being a little kid and a teenager running around, and was able to visit them in Arizona as well. The boys, I mean, they were all like brothers to us, and that was just that was a remarkable, unique experience that not everybody has the opportunity to do. So I you know, just wanted to say that, you know, we were very blessed and very appreciative of that opportunity to be so close to this family that we weren't really related to. Mrs. Kennedy, I put down here, she always managed to hold things together for all of us. And she always did it graciously, and may she now rest in peace.